Hello, how is everybody today? I am Dr. Melissa Mann, and I had 15 minutes. I was going to come in here at 10, but I needed to go to the chiropractor today because I don't know what I did to my back, but it has not been fun. So I don't know if it was somewhere in the course of getting home from Jamaica or going for a run the next day after being on a plane the day before. Couldn't tell you, but let me tell you, I needed to go to the chiropractor today. So I'm feeling a little bit better. I'm hoping for a little bit more as the day goes on, and I have another few adjustments scheduled. But I wanted to jump in here now because I'm meeting my husband for lunch, and I don't know, after sitting outside for an hour plus, where the hair is gonna be at. That's the truth. So I was like, you know what, let me just do this now. And I'm always a little bit more like, I don't know, I just enjoy doing lives more in the morning, I guess that is, whatever that is. But, and we don't have a lot of morning left. But I really wanted to talk to you today about choice. And I know this is one of those topics that people like hate and love and hate, because it would imply that you actually have to choose something in your life rather than sort of like waiting for things to show up. And it's interesting because it's not different from, where am I going with this? Like, I was listening to Dr. Dane, I want to say it was on his 14 billion that he did yesterday, about like somebody asked like the difference between the universe and like asking the universe for something and like waiting for the universe's timing and like doing stuff on your own. And Dr. Dane kind of said like, well, you still are waiting for the universe's timing, but it's that you like know when to create and you know when to do it based on the universe's timing. But as you're creating, you have to get that like just because you're creating something today and you're choosing it, it may not show up the way you think it's going to in the time you think it's going to. So the choices you're making today are creating your future. They're creating the next, 5 minutes, but they're creating the next 5 years, the next 500 years. And I know that concept is something that people kind of get stuck in because they're like, well, I can't perceive 500 years in the future, and how does that even make sense? But when you get that you're an infinite being, and whatever it is you're creating today and choices you're making today does actually affect your tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the rest of this lifetime, but it also affects your lifetimes and other lifetimes into the future. And if you were willing to create for 500 years in the future, what choices would you make different than you are now? So this topic of choice came up yesterday in a session I had with a client where, and it's actually come up a lot in general lately with people, where they've been really stuck and like refusing to choose anything for fear of making the wrong choice or fear of getting stuck. I keep hearing that. Oh, thank you, Parisa. Yeah, I dyed it right before I went to Jamaica. I love my hair dark. Thank you. And so it's like I've had this conversation with a lot of people lately where they don't want to choose this because they don't want to get stuck in something that they don't like, or they don't want to choose a job. They don't want to choose to go out on their own and start their own business. I talk to people a lot about business, and there's always this fear. There's this ongoing fear. And we talked about fear with this particular client, but it's come up so much lately with people where this fear of choosing or the fear of failure or kind of just like this overarching fear. And so we talked about fear as a distractor implant and fear as a choice. And if you weren't choosing fear, what excitement could you choose instead? So the elements of fear and what we think of our body sensations that come up around fear are your heart racing, your muscles tensing up, your like fight or flight, all the things that we've established as fight or flight system kind of turn on. And so from the time we were little, we've misidentified that as fear. Certainly if somebody said to you like, oh, don't be afraid, or are you scared, or like saw what you were experiencing and labeled it as fear, and so you've labeled it as fear. But the thing is, those same bodily sensations, experiences, also equate excitement, but we often go into the fear instead of the excitement. And so when that fear thing comes up, asking the question, if I wasn't choosing fear here, what else could I choose? And am I misidentifying fear as excitement? And everything that is, I destroy and uncreate it. Right, Wrong, Good, Bad, Pod, Poc, All Nine Shorts, Boys and Beyonds. And if you've never heard that before, that is the Access Clearing Statement. And if you would like to learn more about that, you can go to theclearingstatement.com. But anytime we bring up the energy of anything, we use the clearing statement to sort of knock that out. So this choice thing keeps coming up where people have said, I want to get a new job, but I'm so afraid that whatever this job is, it will be A, worse than the job I had before, or B, I'll hate it, or C, that I'll get stuck in it. That's what people keep saying to me lately. This has come up with a number of clients, and including just like friends and family, people in my own world. And so something I keep reminding them, and I will remind you of this too, is that you always have choice. So even if you choose something, you take a job, you quit your job, you do something else, you're not stuck in that choice and that decision forever. You can choose something different. And so even if you get to the thing that you get there, you take the job, you do the thing, and you get there and you're like, wow, this isn't what I thought this is. This sucks. This isn't fun for me. It doesn't make the money I thought it was going to make. You have a different choice available. And so what is it that you've been avoiding choosing for fear of getting stuck, that if you would choose it, would create the awareness that you've been asking for? So everything that is Tims like Godzillion, will you destroy it and create it, please? Cool. Right, Wrong, Good, Bad, Pod, Poc, All Nine Shorts, Boys and Beyonds. And where and how many places in your life have you actually gone into this like deer in headlights paralysis where you won't choose anything for fear of making the wrong choice? And everywhere that you bought the lie that you could ever make a wrong choice, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate that? Cool. Right, Wrong, Good, Bad, Pod, Poc, All Nine Shorts, Boys and Beyonds. And what if no choice you've ever made has ever been wrong? And what if no choice that you will make now and into the future will ever be wrong? What if choice just creates awareness? And so whenever you make a choice for anything, you make a choice to order tacos for dinner and you have the taco and you're like, oh, I really didn't want tacos. Cool. Okay, well, you can eat the taco, you can send the taco back, you can order something different, you can leave the restaurant, or you can eat the taco and decide the next time you won't order tacos from that restaurant because that wasn't what your body wanted in that moment. Or even just to have the awareness to ask your body, hey, body, what would you like to eat? Rather than making an assumption because somebody else told you to get the tacos. So, I mean, obviously that's sort of like this minuscule example, but how many times do we actually get stuck in the making of a choice, even as simple as what to eat, because we don't know what to do? So my husband's going through this thing right now where he's trying to buy a new car. And we laugh because he buys a new car about every 2 years. And he always swears, this is the car I'm going to drive into the ground. I'm going to drive this car until it dies. Every 2 years. Every 2 years we have this conversation. And it's become a running joke. And I don't actually have a point of view if he gets a new car or doesn't get a new car. But the only thing I have said to him is, please get something that you love, that makes you come alive, that whatever you do in the morning, you get into your car and you're so excited to be driving that car. Because why else would you do anything? Why would you not buy something from the point of view of getting something that's fun for you and having fun with it and loving it and enjoying it? And get that even if you don't like it, like you've always done, you still have another choice available. You buy a new car and 6 months later you're like, this really isn't the car I wanted. You can always get another one, because he's getting stuck in this head trip of, do I get this car? Do I not get this car? What about this? And what about miles? And what about how long I have to drive? And you know, what's the practical choice? And, you know, we've kind of been dancing around this idea of like, what if you made, you know, obviously there's logistics involved and you can have a practical element to it. But if it's not fun for you and if you're doing it all from practicality, what are you doing with your life? And would you be willing to actually live your life from a space of joy and fun and ease and allow the universe to contribute to you? And a lot of that is about being willing to make a choice, whatever that choice might be. And it's interesting, my oldest son is going through this right now too, of not wanting to make a choice on jobs or where to go or what to do. He's considering the military, all these things, because he's trying to figure it out, like, what is it that I want to do right now? And he's turned down a number of jobs because he didn't want to get stuck in that job. And so we've had these conversations of like, are you ever really stuck? And can you actually choose something different? And whatever you choose, is there always going to create some awareness? And can you make a different choice? And where is it in your life, in your world, whether it's about ways to make money or about relationships? It's so funny. I have a friend going through this in a relationship right now where she's, you know, not sure if this is the one. She, you know, getting all stuck in her head with it. And, you know, it's like, okay, well, why don't you just choose it? and see what happens, see what it creates. Because without making a choice, we will continue to do this head tripping thing where we go in circles and circles and circles and never are actually willing to just choose the relationship, to choose the job, to choose the not job, whatever that is, to choose to go out on your own, to choose to start a business, to choose to, buy a car, to choose what you're eating for lunch. But everywhere that you're still trying to make the right choice for fear of getting it wrong, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it? Wow, yeah, right, wrong, good, bad, POD, POC, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. And how many times in our lives have we been taught that we can get it wrong, and that if we do it wrong, we'll be in trouble, that we'll regret it, that we'll be sorry? I mean, how many times have those things actually been pushed on us from the times that we were a really young person, a young child in the world? And how many lifetimes have we been told that we made the wrong choice, or are afraid of making the wrong choice because in some other lifetime, the wrong choice, what you've decided was the wrong choice, led to death or something else that, wasn't great. And so if you would acknowledge that you are actually an infinite being, and no matter what you choose, you can always choose again, whether that's, right now or in some other way, shape, or form, it opens this universe of not feeling this paralysis anymore. And if you were willing to choose in 10-second increments, which is one of the 10 keys to total freedom of Access Consciousness, is choosing in 10-second increments. So if you're willing to actually choose that and look at okay, I could choose, what do I want to choose in this 10 seconds? I'm going to do this right now. Okay, well, 10 seconds are up. What do I want to choose now? And beyond the choices of jobs and relationships and what we think of as big choices, are you willing to acknowledge how many choices you actually have? He's probably telling me he's here. Maybe he'll come in. We're meeting here at my office to go to lunch, because the place we're going to lunch is right up the street. But how much have you actually made your choices about the big things and not acknowledged all the little things? Even comes down to your mood, or how you choose to spend your day, or if you choose to allow somebody else's energy to affect you, all the little things that you have choice in every day. And so this morning, my 8-year-old son was having a meltdown. He was really upset because I had thrown the clothes that he wanted to wear in the wash because they were dirty. And hi, you can come in. I'm just finishing my live. My husband is walking in. You can sit and not stand there awkwardly. Yes, I know we need to go. But he was having this meltdown this morning about, clothes. I mean, it was kind of a silly thing, but he was choosing to be in this mood, and I was giving him so many different choices of hey, you have these we call them as calm down gummies that are just thiamine and lemon balm and just some natural things that help him. Well, he didn't want that, and I was offering to run his bars, and I kind of started to run his implant band, and he kind of knocked me off, but he was choosing that, and it was so clear that he wanted to stay in that mood. And for a minute, he brought me into it too, because I also then felt like I was in this negative, bad, icky space. And I acknowledged that I had a different choice there, and that even if he was willing to stay in that mood, that I didn't have to choose that as well, and I didn't have to have that ruin my whole day. So as I went to get ready, I let him be, and I, was using the all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory, and I started just running some questions and some clearings. I listened to Dr. Dane from yesterday's 14 billion, and my whole day changed, mood changed, everything kind of got better. But that's that acknowledgement that in any moment you have choice to be brought into somebody else's universe, or to stay in a bad mood, even if something negative happens in your world, to stay in that space or to choose something different. And so everywhere that you haven't acknowledged that you have choice, even in truly 10-second increments, rather than looking only to the great big choices, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate that and return that to sender with consciousness? And is that even yours? So everything that is, right, wrong, good, bad, POD, POC, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. And I'll leave you with this, as I need to go to lunch, and I can see my husband watching the time. Today and into the next week, acknowledge everywhere that you are making choices. Acknowledge like, oh cool, I chose that. I chose to change my mood. I chose to change the way I saw that. I chose to call this friend, or I chose to say, you know what, today I really don't want to do anything. I just want to relax. But start to acknowledge the choices that you are making that are creating greater for you, and everywhere that you are willing to choose. Because the more that you acknowledge what you are already choosing, the easier it becomes to keep choosing and to come out of this right and wrong thing. So I'd love to hear actually how that goes for you, and how the week is going, and all of those things. And anywhere that you're struggling with choice, please let me know. And I think I mentioned it last week too, but any questions that you have coming up, or just things popping up in your world, please reach out, let me know, pop them in the Melissa Mann CF page. I would love to know what's going on for you so that I could speak to it. And I think that's all. I have an Access Bars class this weekend in Chicago. If you are near me, if you'd love to come to the city, we have a beautiful venue with floor-to-ceiling windows. I'm really excited. It's where I did Danielle Carter's 3-day body class. If you saw any of those pictures, it's like a really beautiful space. And so, yeah, come join me. You can still register for that. And tomorrow in my Money Party group, we start 3 days of free energy pulls. So come join me over there tomorrow. Have an amazing day. Thanks. Bye.